Hey guys, Happy New Year and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had an amazing holiday week and Christmas and New Year and that you were able to enjoy time with your friends and family. And I'm just so excited to get started on content for 2023. I have a lot of fun ideas. I definitely want to be reading some more. And I thought that I would start my first video of 2023 by talking about all the books that I want to be reading in 2023. So if you like this type of content, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. But without further ado, let's get into the video. A lot of the books that I have in my New Year's TBR list are like sequels or continuations of a series I'm currently reading. And I'm really excited to get into these books in the new year. They are highly anticipated books. They are from series that are some of my personal favorites. So I don't have them here with me for obvious reasons, but I'm just gonna list them off pretty quickly. The first one being Gold by Raven Kennedy. That is going to be book 4 in the Plated Prisoner series. That series is probably one of my all-time favorites. I think I like it more than the ACOTAR series, only because of its unique qualities, the plot, the setting. The main characters I think are more have more development and growth overall versus like Feyre and Rhys. I think that Commander Rip, Oren, King Midas, those characters are just so much more fascinating to me and I love reading them and I cannot wait for the final book. I'm hoping this is the final book and they don't push it into another one, but it ended in such a great cliffhanger, the last book, that I'm thinking it's going to pick up right where it left off in the last book, which was Glow. And I think this book coming out, Gold, will be just like the creme de la creme. So I'm really excited for this book to come out. I don't know when the release date is, but if you guys have read this series, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments because I want to talk about this book so much more. I feel like not many people rave about it. I don't know, maybe it's just me that is like obsessed with this series. Another book that is going to be released sometime this year is The Things We Hide from the Light, which is by Lucy Score, who wrote Things We Never Got Over. And I read that last year, I think in like August or May, sometime in the summer. And it was a good 4-star book for me. It was a contemporary romance. It's set in like a small town called Knock 'Em Out, I believe. And it centers around a woman who leaves her husband at the altar in order to help her sister in this small town. And she ends up helping her niece and getting into a whole bunch of trouble. There's a grumpy sunshine mix in there and I really liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. The characters were fun to read about and I'm excited for book 2. I don't know if it's going to be with the same characters or with side characters that were in book 1, but I'm excited either way. So I definitely have just been talking for the last 5 to 10 minutes and nothing was recording. So we're gonna just speed through this. The next series I want to talk about that I'm really excited to be reading this year is the Ember and the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I really loved the covers of these. That's what gripped me to getting them. And I kind of just winged it and got all 3 instead of just reading the first one. But it centers around a girl named Laya who has been through a lot and the world that she lives in is under control of like this really cruel empire ruler regime, and she is trying to save her brother by becoming a spy for the empire's military academy, and it just goes from there. It's more, I think, of an epic fantasy than like a magical world system that I'm more used to reading. So I'm excited to see how this series goes. I am interested in reading more epic fantasies that are less centered around magic and romance. So we'll see if this gives those vibes, but I'm also really interested in reading some Brandon Sanderson. I tried reading The Way of Kings on Audible last year and it just didn't do it for me. I think that because the world building is just so slow in the beginning, and I think it will help further along the book series. But for me, I'm gonna have to read it on paper, so I'm hoping to go to the library sometime this year or borrow it from someone and check it out and see if his writing style is something I'd be interested in. But I really liked like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, so I'm hoping that Brandon Sanderson's writing style will be more up my alley, but we'll see. I have it on my list. Hopefully I'll get to it. Next up, we have Zodiac Academy, Sorrow and Starlight, which is book 8, I believe. And honestly, I'm just trying to read this book so we can move on from it. I am too far in for me to stop reading this series, and book 7 ended in such a cliffhanger that it had me crying in a public place. So while it's not my favorite series, it is really intense. It's definitely drama filled. It's definitely like Vampire Diaries meets Gossip Girl meets every bad reality TV show you've ever watched, but you can't stop watching it. So that's where we're at. We're on season 8. We're on book 8. And I am just really hoping that good things start happening in book 8. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a book 9. So I don't know, maybe we'll read this one, like it, and get to read book 9, maybe not. But it centers around 2 twin sisters who are from the mortal world. They find out that they all have magical abilities, and they're actually like princesses and heir to this throne, and they've been summoned to go back to where they're from. But in order to ascend the throne and get their inheritance, they have to go through this academy, which is called Zodiac Academy. There they find a bunch of bullies and people that don't want them, and it kind of just goes from there. It's a bully romance with a lot of back and forth, a lot of weird contemporary references like Facebook, and they call it Faybook. It's really corny, really cheesy, but then there's also a lot of drama and angst, and like I said, bullying, and the plot is really good, I guess, overall. The character development is not there for me. They're not my favorite characters. I'm just gonna say that. But like I said, I'm here for a good time. I'm here for the drama. So I'm too far invested in it now to stop. And yeah, it's on Kindle Unlimited. So if you want to try giving that series a go for it. Be my guest. Am I recommending it? Just do what you want. Just do what your heart tells you to do. Next up is Saint by Adrienne Young. I read Fable and Namesake last year, and I have a dedicated review for those 2 books. I will link it up here, but I really enjoyed that series. I think I gave it a 5-star rating, and I don't know if this is going to be a spin-off or a continuation of the story or like a backstory of Saint, who is Fable's father, but either way, the cover is beautiful. And I really like Saint as a character. I think that he's kind of mysterious and a rogue, I guess. So we want to know, I think that it's either going to be a cash grab book or it's going to be a really cool story of Saint and his backstory, and maybe understanding more of his character and why he is the way he is with Fable. So I don't know, I'm excited to read it and add it to my collection, because even if the book isn't my favorite, the cover will work very, very well with the other 2 books that she came out with, because they're so stunning. And I really do like Adrienne Young's writing. If you're into young adult fantasy, I think you will enjoy this book series. Next up on my TBR are the books that I got from Owlcrate, my Owlcrate boxes. I have not read any of these, and they are something that I want to get to eventually. They are all like fantasy books. One is The Whispering Dark, which sounds more like a dark academia book to me. The cover is really, really pretty. So we will see how this goes. I believe it has to do with a deaf student in this like magical school. So I'm excited to read this. Next, we have The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. And this one also has been pretty heavily seen, I think, on Barnes & Noble. Like, I've seen it on tables, and it looks pretty good as well. So I'm excited to read this one. I don't remember fully what the synopsis is, but it seems to me that there is like a magical forest and a girl who has to help her people from like monsters, and there's like a little bit of like a romance here, I think. I'm not sure. So it looks pretty creepy, but also interesting. I don't know. I like dark magical forest. So that one is gonna be on my TBR maybe in October. I don't know. We'll see. If I'm in the mood for reading it, I'll just read it. And then lastly is The Poison Season by Mara Rutherford. This is probably the most beautiful cover I've gotten so far from Owlcrate. And again, we have a magical forest. We have a girl trying to make some tough choices for her family and thrust into some difficult situations. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I like the premise. I love, like I said, magical forests and kind of the eeriness that goes with it. So we'll see. I think they're all kind of similar in their own way. But yeah, then we have some classics. I am trying to read some more classics this year, and I think I read maybe 2 or 3 last year, like more Jane Austen books. I believe I read Mansfield Park and Persuasion. This year I'm trying to read more books like The Secret Garden, Little Women, things like that. If you have any classic book recommendations, let me know in the comments, because I do enjoy reading classics. They are kind of hard to get into sometimes, but normally you can find them for free on Audible. So if you have any good ones, let me know. Then we have The Final Gambit, which is the last book in the Inheritance Games trilogy by Leanne Barnes. And I really did like these 2 books. They are definitely a young adult book series, very easy to read, very fast paced. The chapters are short. The storyline isn't that heavy. There's not really any heavy topics or heavy romance. It's really just an engaging story about some mysterious family and their house, and this girl who is just thrust into this world trying to figure out the truth behind her past and how it correlates with this Hawthorne family that she is now the inheritor of their estates, which is like worth billions and billions of dollars. So book 1 and 2 were pretty good, I would say. Book 3, I'm hoping will be even better. I would say the series is like a 3.5, 4-star rating for me. It isn't wowing me at all, but I do enjoy reading it. So we're gonna see. I'm hoping that it will be a really fun book ending and everything will tie up nicely, because we have a love triangle going on right now. So we'll see, but it is on my TBR to read, hopefully this month or next month. And lastly on my TBR list for this year is House of Roots and Ruin by Erin A. Craig. She wrote Small Favors, which I read earlier this year, I believe in September or October, and I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 5-star rating. It was super creepy. It was a Rumpelstiltskin kind of retelling, reimagining, and I loved it so much. The House of Roots and Ruin, I think, will be fun. I like the premise. It is a gothic kind of retelling, and it definitely sounds like Edgar Allan Poe to me, so I think it's going to be dark and eerie, and it's set by the sea, and I just love Edgar Allan Poe, so I'm excited to read this book. Her writing style is fantastic. If you haven't read Small Favors, I highly recommend doing so. And yeah, that's kind of all I know about the book so far, but I'm very excited to be reading it. I don't know when the release date is yet for this one either, but yeah, I think 2023 is going to be a great year for reading. I'm so excited to get into all of these books, and I hope you are too. I hope I have given you some good recommendations if you haven't read any of these book series to try them out. And if you have any other recommendations on books I should read this year, let me know in the comments. But that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you like this type of content. And that's going to be it for me. So until next time, I will catch you in my next video. Bye!